Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is lecture number 18. The name of the paper is Criticism 1. The book we have been discussing is Aristotle's Poetics, and today we'll discuss whether it is plot which is important or the character which is important, according to Aristotle. So, this is the topic for today, the importance of plot over character. This lecture is specifically for the students of BS English 5th semester GDC Parvi, and it is also for the students of those colleges which are affiliated with Abdul Wali Khan University. This is our topic, but before this, in lecture number 16, if you remember, we discussed Aristotle's concept of character and action, and this is very important in order to understand lecture number 18. So, in lecture number 17, this was discussed that character contains moral element and intellectual element, and these elements are static elements, they are not dynamic elements. You should listen to that lecture also. Today, we will discuss this idea, whether it is the plot which is important or character, according to Aristotle. If you have a look at the definition of tragedy, you find out that Aristotle uh, divides tragedy into six parts, three of which were the objects of imitation, of which the first one was a plot or action. He says tragedy is the imitation of an action. Action and plot are the same thing. Um, the second object is character, and the third is thought or emotion. Character is the permanent disposition of a character. It includes the intellectual element and the moral element, but they are uh, dormant, they are inside the character, they are not dynamic, they are not active, they are realized only through action. And then is the thought or emotion. Two are the means of imitation. One is diction and the other is melody, as you know, and one is the manner, that is spectacle. We have discussed them in detail in previous lectures. Aristotle thinks that plot is the most important part of these six elements, and he spends a lot of time on discussing plot construction. This idea of plot being more important than character looks quite unconvincing to some of the modern readers, especially those who are the followers of Shakespeare. They think that characters are important. Therefore, there are different critics with different ideas. Aristotle gives his own reasons for the comparative importance of plot construction. So, the first reason he gives is, and we'll discuss it in detail, that tragedy is the imitation of action. It is not the imitation of character. Character cannot be imitated because character has two elements. One element is the intellectual element, and the other element is the moral element, the tendency to do good or bad. But the tendency to do good or bad is not enough. For example, if you want to become a doctor, and only this wanting to become a doctor is not enough, you have to show action. To realize this idea, you ought to do some action, and then the character would be realized. So, tragedy imitates action, it doesn't imitate character. And character is for the sake of plot or for the sake of action. Therefore, character is important. Action is important because character is something which cannot be realized on its own, according to Aristotle. It is to be realized when it is put into action, because the two qualities a character has, the moral element and the intellectual element, they are actually dormant elements, and to give them dynamic nature, we need action. So action reveals the character. The character would not be revealed unless action is done. Therefore, action comes out to be more important. And then we will discuss that the end of life and also the end of tragedy. The end of tragedy is to arouse pity and fear. And pity and fear cannot be aroused by the character as understood by Aristotle, because according to him, there is the intellectual element and there is the moral element. But these two elements cannot effect the catharsis of two emotions, which is pity and fear. Pity and fear are aroused, and then there should be the catharsis of these emotions. And this is the purpose of plot construction. Uh, only action can do this, not the character, as the end of tragedy is to arouse these emotions. Therefore, these are aroused only by action and not by character. The other is that the end of life is also action or plot. The end of life cannot be the quality. What we have in character are the qualities. One is the quality of moral element, the other is the quality of intellectual element, and these are qualities. So the end of life is not quality in itself. For example, um, only good without action, which is inside you, how would somebody come to know that you are good? Somebody says, I'm a very good person, but he doesn't do anything good. How can we say that he is a good person unless he does something which is good? That is, put his ideas into action. So, the end of life is not only that quality. When you say, I have goodness in me, and you are not doing any action, the end of life is not this quality. The end of life is to show this quality with the help of action. So these are the things which are discussed here. Uh, as I told you, tragedy is defined as the imitation of action. Action is equivalent to plot. So tragedy imitates action. It doesn't imitate character. It doesn't imitate the um, moral, that side which is the moral element, or that side which is the intellectual element, that is realized with the help of action. So tragedy is defined as the imitation of action, though character is also the object of imitation, but its realization comes only through action. You can see that human life, the happiness and its sorrows, which take the form of activity, these are imitated because you cannot be happy without the action. Um, it is the action which makes us happy or sorrowful or whatever we are. So the end is action, the means is the character. It is the means to achieve the end. The end is always better than the means. Character, as we discussed, gives us quality. Uh, Actions make us happy or otherwise. The quality only having the goodness inside the character, intellectual ability inside the character is not enough unless it is put into action. So we say that characters are for the sake of action or for the sake of plot. Therefore, plot is more important because it is the plot which arouses pity and fear and affects the catharsis of these emotions. So we say that plot is the end and character is the means to achieve that end. So this is the first argument in favor of the importance of plot construction or action. ये उर्दू में भी सुन लें. अरिस्टोटल ने 6 पार्ट्स डिस्क्राइब किए हैं. 3 ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ इमिटेशन है, टू मीन्स ऑफ इमिटेशन है और एक मैनर ऑफ इमिटेशन है। और अरिस्टोटल ने प्लॉट को बहुत अहमियत दी है। मॉडर्न रीडर्स या जो शेक्सपियर के फॉलोअर्स हैं वो इसको अनकन्विंसिंग समझते हैं कि नहीं, कैरेक्टर ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है और एक्शन ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है, प्लॉट ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है। हम इसको डिस्कस करेंगे एंड पे। अरिस्टोटल मुख्तलिफ रीजंस बताता है कि एक्शन इम्पोर्टेंट है। पहली रीज़न ये है कि जो डेफिनेशन है ट्रेजेडी की वो डिफाइन करती है इमिटेशन ऑफ एन एक्शन दैट इज सीरियस। तो ये जो एक्शन है इक्विवेलेंट टू प्लॉट है, ये ट्रेजेडी की डेफिनेशन में एक्शन इमिटेशन है, कैरेक्टर इमिटेशन नहीं है, क्योंकि कैरेक्टर रियलाइज होता है। थ्री ऑब्जेक्ट्स ऑफ इमिटेशन में कैरेक्टर भी आता है, लेकिन कैरेक्टर रियलाइज होता है एक्शन के थ्रू। अगर कैरेक्टर रियलाइज ना हो तो अरिस्टोटल तो उसको कैरेक्टर समझता ही नहीं है। कैरेक्टर रियलाइज होता है स्पीच के थ्रू, इनवर्ड एक्शन के थ्रू और फिर आउटवर्ड एक्शन के थ्रू। अगर ये सारा ना हो तो कैरेक्टर रियलाइज ना हो, बल्कि अरिस्टोटल उसको कैरेक्टर कहता ही नहीं है जो अपनी रैशनैलिटी इस्तेमाल ना करे, इंटेलेक्चुअल एबिलिटी इस्तेमाल ना करे और चॉइस इस्तेमाल ना करे। तो हम ये कहते हैं कि कैरेक्टर है, ये प्लॉट की खातिर है, एक्शन की खातिर है, लिहाजा एक्शन जो है ये एंड है और कैरेक्टर इसके हुसूल का जरिया है। कैरेक्टर का पता बगैर एक्शन के लग नहीं सकता। तो हम कहते हैं कि एंड ऑफ लाइफ जो है ये क्वालिटी नहीं है, क्योंकि कैरेक्टर में आपको क्वालिटी मिलती है। मसलन गुडनेस एक क्वालिटी है, तो खुद से गुडनेस तो नहीं बरकरार हो सकता, ना खुद से इंटेलेक्चुअल एबिलिटी बरकरार हो सकती है। बरकरार हो सकती है का मतलब ये है कि ये जाहिर नहीं हो सकती एक्शन के बगैर। जब आपने एक्शन नहीं लिया है और आप कहते हैं मैं गुड पर्सन हूं और गुड आपने किया नहीं है, तो फिर वो रियलाइज कैसे होगा? तो एंड ऑफ लाइफ जो है ये क्वालिटी नहीं है, ये एक्शन है। इसकी रियलाइजेशन एक्शन के थ्रू होगी। तो ये हमने पहला पॉइंट पढ़ा और पॉइंट के नुक्ते अहम है। चूंकि बिजली नहीं है आज तो आपको तस्वीर नज़र नहीं आ रही, लेकिन तस्वीर की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है। आपका असल मकसद सबक है और वो हम कर रहे हैं। तो ये पहला पॉइंट था उसका कि ट्रेजेडी जो है ये इमिटेट करती है एक्शन को, तो लिहाजा ये ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है। दूसरा हमारा द सेकंड पॉइंट इज that play is possible without character but not possible without plot. I have made this point very much clear in lecture number 17, in which we talked about the Aristotelian concept of character and action. Because for him, character means these two elements. The moral element is the bent of mind. It is the tendency to do good or bad, called ethos in Greek language. And then we have intellectual element, which is the ability to choose good or bad. The choice of good or bad, and the moral element, the tendency. Both of these, if they are there and they are realized, then we say that there is character in the story. And these are realized through speech and action. Speech is also included in action according to Aristotle. And then I gave you the example that if something is done under compulsion and your intellectual element is not used in it, then you are not even a character, though you bodily perform in the story, but you will not be considered as a character by Aristotle. I gave you this example that if somebody forces you to jump from a mountain on gunpoint, then you cannot use your ability to choose. Your choice is not there then. When your choice is not there, then you are not using your intellectual element and you jump because you did not have any choice for it. So when you jumped, you did not use intellectual element and there was no chance for you to use it. As a result, you are not a character. But this is a dramatic action. The action you are taking is a dramatic action. But Aristotle says this is the absence of character, but it is the presence of action. Therefore, he says drama is possible without character. By this, he means without using intellectual element or moral element, you become characterless. So, therefore, tragedy is possible without character, but it is not possible without plot, without action. So, this is that point which I explained now. You can write this idea in it, and that would be enough. You can also write this as you wish. I think the point discussed above is proper, and you can put that point here. Uh, that play is possible without character, and by character without character, he means not using your intellectual element or moral element. Uh, so, without that character, without that type of character, plot is possible, action is possible. That jump was possible without that. Then Aristotle compares the uh, drama which is without character and the drama which is without plot. So the drama without character is compared with a pencil sketch. A sketch is called a type of painting, but it is not the best type of painting. But even then, it is a painting. But if you put beautiful colors on the canvas without making any shape, then these shapeless colors would look very beautiful, but they cannot be counted as a painting. So pencil sketch is like the drama without character, but action is there, and only colors put on the canvas without any design is drama without plot or drama without action. So you can see that again character is less important as compared to plot construction or as compared to action. So this is what you have in this. Um, as I explained, the moral aspect of man, if that is not used, if the intellectual aspect of man that is not used, then we say there is no character. But as I gave you the example, without such a character, the drama is possible and the action is possible. So therefore, it is possible to have drama without character, but no drama without action. Um, then there is the example of the pencil portrait, which is compared with drama without character, and then the beautiful colors put on the canvas without any design. That is compared with drama without action, without plot. So these two comparisons tell you that even a pencil sketch can give you something which can be called painting, but only colors without any design put on the canvas do not give you uh, anything which can be called painting. The next reason he gives for the importance of plot is that it is in the plot, in the action, that discoveries and reversals are there. You know, discoveries and reversals are very important for a complex plot, and they make the tragedy as the best type of tragedy. And these things, the discoveries and the reversals, they are found in plot, not in character. ये आपको उर्दू में भी बता दूं ताकि आपको समझ आए, क्योंकि इसको हमने उर्दू में नहीं पढ़ा। ये बात ऊपर भी मैंने वजाहत कर दी थी कि प्ले ये मुमकिन है बगैर कैरेक्टर के, तो कैरेक्टर से मुराद लोग नहीं है। अब इससे अगर मुराद आप लोग ले लें तो फिर आप कहेंगे कि अरिस्टोटल तो बिल्कुल गलत था। अरिस्टोटल इतना बेवकूफ़ तो नहीं था कि वो कहे कि बगैर लोगों के ट्रेजेडी बनेगी, बगैर लोगों के ट्रेजेडी कैसे बनेगी। तो कैरेक्टर का उसका कॉन्सेप्ट अलग है और वो हमने अभी पढ़ा है। कैरेक्टर का कॉन्सेप्ट ये है कि कैरेक्टर में दो एलिमेंट्स हैं, एक इंटेलेक्चुअल है और एक मॉरल है। अगर ये एलिमेंट्स इस्तेमाल ना हो जाए और ये रियलाइज ना हो जाए तो अरिस्टोटल तो उसको कैरेक्टर समझता ही नहीं है। मतलब उस ड्रामे में कैरेक्टर नहीं है। अगर उन्होंने अपना इंटेलेक्चुअल एलिमेंट इस्तेमाल नहीं किया तो इसका मतलब ये है कि इसमें सिरे से कैरेक्टर ही नहीं है ड्रामे में। तो कैरेक्टर से मुराद लोग नहीं है, कैरेक्टर से मुराद ये दो एलिमेंट्स हैं और ये रियलाइज होनी चाहिए। ये अगर रियलाइज ना हो तो कैरेक्टर नहीं होंगे। लेकिन आपको जो मिसाल दी मैंने पहाड़ से जंप लगाने की, तो जंप लगाना तो एक ड्रामेटिक एक्शन है, लेकिन इस ड्रामे में अरिस्टोटल के मुताबिक फिर किरदार नहीं होगा। तो अरिस्टोटल मिसाल देता है हमें पेंसिल स्केच की। पेंसिल से कोई बंदा पेंटिंग बनाता है, तो ये मिसाल है ट्रेजिडी की विदाउट कैरेक्टर, क्योंकि आपको ड्रामा मिलेगा अगर वो बेस्ट टाइप ऑफ ड्रामा नहीं होगा। पेंसिल स्केच बेस्ट टाइप ऑफ पेंटिंग नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी वो ड्रामा होगा। लेकिन अगर आप चंद रंग ले लें, कलर्स ले लें और उसको कैनवस पे डालें बगैर किसी डिज़ाइन के, तो फिर ये पेंटिंग नहीं होगा। इसी तरीके से अगर आप एक्शन के बगैर, प्लॉट के बगैर स्टोरी डालेंगे, ट्रेजिडी करेंगे, तो वो ट्रेजिडी नहीं होगी। जिस तरह कलर्स मिला के पेंटिंग नहीं बनता। तो ये इसमें बात है। आप इसको पढ़ें, कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो यू कैन आस्क द क्वेश्चन देन। Then, as I explained, plot is important. The third reason is that discoveries and reversals are important in a complex plot. And discoveries and reversals are found in action or in plot. They are not in character, because in character the only two elements are the intellectual element and the moral element. They do not have discoveries and reversals, which are very important for giving surprises to the readers or to the spectators. So discoveries and reversals are in the plot, in the action, as we find them out in Oedipus Rex. Oedipus Rex has a lot of discoveries and reversal. The discoveries are made. For example, this is the first discovery, that he is not the son of those whom Oedipus considers to be his parents. The second discovery is that he has killed his own father. The third discovery is that he has married his own mother. The fourth discovery is that he was given to the supposed parents of Oedipus by a shepherd, and that they only brought him up and that he was not their real son. So this is a series of discoveries, and then towards the end there is a reversal of fortune. Uh, the man Oedipus, who was a king, uh, comes to the streets as a man who doesn't have anything, as a blind man. So these are the things which make plot important, the discoveries and the reversals. तो इसमें आपने पढ़ा, तीसरी रीजन हमने पढ़ी कि डिस्कवरीज और रिवर्सल्स जो हैं ये प्लॉट में होते हैं, ये कैरेक्टर में नहीं होते। लिहाजा प्लॉट ज़्यादा अहम है कैरेक्टर से, क्योंकि डिस्कवरीज और रिवर्सल्स ट्रेजेडी को बेहतरीन बनाने में, कॉम्प्लेक्स प्लॉट क्रिएट करने में ये अहम किरदार अदा करती हैं। तो लिहाजा आ, ये अहम बनाती हैं प्लॉट को और एक्शन को, और कम अहम करती हैं कैरेक्टर को। There is the fourth reason for the comparative importance of plot construction, and that fourth reason is that you can create good characters as a writer even if you are inexperienced, but you cannot create wonderful plots without a lot of skill, without having maturity, um, without having a lot of experience. So, creating characters is easy, creating plots is difficult. So, therefore, plot construction, which needs a lot of more skill as compared to characterization, is more important as compared to characters. So, without experience, you can create characters, but without a long experience, you cannot create plots. Even immature writers can create memorable characters while they fail to create good plots. We can take the examples from 19th century novels. Henry Fielding, for example, his first novel, Joseph Andrews, some say that was Shamela, but Joseph Andrews is his novel. In that novel, there is a wonderful characterization, for example, of Parson Adam. But there are many incidents which can be separated from the story and which are unconnected with the story. So, therefore, there is no good plot construction in Joseph Andrews. And that was the stage when Fielding was not very experienced, and he was not very mature. But even then, he could make wonderful plots, wonderful characters like Parson Adam. But the plot construction was very weak, and there were many superfluous incidents in Joseph Andrews, while in the best type of plot, as Aristotle says, nothing is superfluous, nothing is wanting, it has organic unity. But in Joseph Andrews, there is a lot which does not have organic unity. Later on, when he became very experienced and mature, he wrote Tom Jones, and Tom Jones had a wonderful plot. The plot construction of Tom Jones is a wonderful one, is a very nice one. And the conclusion is that plot construction is done with a lot of experience, while characterization can be done with less experience. The same is the case with Charles Dickens. He created interesting characters when he was not very experienced, but his plots were not very good. And for example, he wrote Pickwick Papers, and in Pickwick Papers, there is no nice plot construction. Characterization is wonderful. But when he became experienced, he wrote Bleak House, Hard Times, Great Expectations, and these had wonderful plot construction. He was able to write them only after a lot of experience. So, therefore, Aristotle's conclusion is correct that characters can be created by inexperienced people, but plot construction needs a lot of skill. And this is the next point which makes plot more important than character. The fifth reason is that plot is taken as the soul of tragedy or the vital principle of tragedy. You know his description of form and matter. That form is comparable to soul because they did not believe in soul as we do. ये हमने नेक्स्ट पॉइंट तो शुरू कर दिया, ये मैंने उर्दू में नहीं बताया, उर्दू में बता दूं ताकि आपको समझ आए। उर्दू में इसकी वजाहत ये है कि जो लोग, जो राइटर्स एक्सपीरियंस्ड ना भी हों, वो भी अच्छे किरदार क्रिएट कर सकते हैं। लेकिन प्लॉट कंस्ट्रक्शन अच्छा तब क्रिएट होता है जब राइटर बहुत एक्सपीरियंस्ड हो जाए। तो इस वजह से प्लॉट कंस्ट्रक्शन इम्पॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि इसमें ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस की ज़रूरत है। हम मॉडर्न एग्जाम्पल्स ले सकते हैं। हेनरी फील्डिंग 19th सेंचुरी नॉवेलिस्ट है, और इसने जोसेफ एंड्रूज शुरू में लिखा, शामिला भी लिखा। शामिला कंफर्म्ड नहीं है कि इसने लिखा है कि नहीं, जोसेफ एंड्रूज कंफर्म है। और जोसेफ एंड्रूज इसके शुरू का नावल था, इसमें प्लॉट कंस्ट्रक्शन खराब है, कैरेक्टराइजेशन इसकी ज़बरदस्त है। पर्सन एडम का कैरेक्टर इसने क्रिएट किया है, आपके कोर्स में शामिल है, आप जोसेफ एंड्रूज पढ़ेंगे। तो इसमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जो सुपरफ्लूअस हैं, अनकनेक्टेड इंसिडेंट्स हैं, प्लॉट कंस्ट्रक्शन अच्छा नहीं है। और अरिस्टोटल प्लॉट कंस्ट्रक्शन उसको अच्छा समझता है जिसमें एक्स्ट्रा चीज़ें ना हो, अनकनेक्टेड आइटम्स ना हो, ऑर्गेनिक यूनिटी हो। जोसेफ एंड्रूज में ये चीज़ें नहीं थी। हाँ, जब हेनरी फील्डिंग्स एक्सपर्ट हो गया, मायर हो गया, मैच्योर हो गया, तो उसने टॉम जोन्स लिखा, और ये एक वंडरफुली प्लॉटेड नावल है, और इसका प्लॉट कंस्ट्रक्शन ज़बरदस्त और ऑर्गेनिक है। अगर हम चार्ल्स डिकेंस को ले लें, तो इसके भी शुरू के जो नावल्स है उसमें प्लॉट कंस्ट्रक्शन बेकार है और कैरेक्टराइजेशन ज़बरदस्त है। पिकविक पेपर्स की मिसाल है, इसकी प्लॉट कंस्ट्रक्शन बेकार है, शुरू का नावल है। जब ये मैच्योर हुआ तो इसने ब्लीक हाउस और हार्ड टाइम्स लिखा। ग्रेट एक्सपेक्टेशन आप पढ़ चुके हैं, ये लिखा, और इसमें ज़बरदस्त प्लॉट कंस्ट्रक्शन है। So this was the fourth point. We come now to the fifth point. Aristotle calls plot as the soul of tragedy, as the vital principle of tragedy. Though they did not believe in soul as we do, but they call it a vital principle. If you remember the discussion of Aristotle related with, for example, he talked about form and matter. And form is something which tries to mold matter into perfection, but the matter gives some resistance, and form sometimes is not successful. That form is equivalent, we say, to the soul, but not exactly the soul we believe in. He calls it the vital principle, something which gives life to matter. That is the vital principle. So we do not believe that a seed has a soul, but he believes that seed has that vital principle too, that soul form too. And his idea of vital soul, vital principle and soul is different from our idea of soul. However, he calls it vital principle, something which gives life to tragedy, is plot. Without plot, tragedy would become lifeless. So tragedy, for the soul of tragedy, is plot construction. It is not character. A plot for him is not some metaphysical entity as we believe in, and he calls it vital principle. Uh, he thinks of play as an organism and as a living body, and this living body is made living by the um, vital principle of action or plot. As I gave you the example of seed, the principle of life is there, the form is there, but that cannot be called soul by us because we don't believe seeds have soul in them. However, there is something which gives life to the seed, and the seed, as a result, grows from the seed to a tree. So, something which converts this seed into something living which grows is this principle of life. And the principle of life of tragedy is plot. So, therefore, plot is very important. Plot is something which gets together everything in the tragedy. Everything in the tragedy is close to each other, is connected because of the plot. Without plot, everything would scatter, and plot is like a nucleus. As we have nucleus in the cell, we have nucleus in the uh, tragedy, and everything is because of the nucleus. If you take out the nucleus, the cell dies. If you take out the plot, tragedy would die. Um, it is for the sake of action that other things exist in the tragedy. So this is the discussion of plot is the sole and vital principle of tragedy. इसको थोड़ा सा उर्दू में सुन लें. प्लॉट को अरिस्टोटल इम्पॉर्टेंट समझता है और इसको सोल ऑफ ट्रेजेडी को बोलता है, इसको वाइटल प्रिंसिपल ऑफ ट्रेजेडी बोलता है. ये वाइटल प्रिंसिपल बराबर है फॉर्म के जो हमने पहले डिस्कस किया हुआ है. सोल जिस तरह हम बिलीव करते हैं वो नहीं करता, क्योंकि हम ये बिलीव नहीं करते कि किसी बीज में, सीड में सोल होता है. वो समझता है कि बीज में वाइटल प्रिंसिपल होता है, ये फॉर्म है, उसको जिंदा रखती है, और ग्रोथ लिविंग थिंग की होती है. तो पौधा जब ग्रोथ करता है किसी सीड से, तो ये इस वाइटल प्रिंसिपल की वजह से जो उसको लिविंग बनाता है. तो इसी तरह ट्रेजिडी को जो चीज़ लिविंग बनाती है वो प्लॉट है. प्लॉट सोल की तरह है, प्लॉट वाइटल प्रिंसिपल की तरह है. बाकी की डिस्कशन थोड़ी सी लंबी है, आप इसको शॉर्ट कर सकते हैं. मसलन इस एग्जाम्पल की ज़रूरत नहीं है. जहाँ पे आपको लगता है कि लंबा है आप उसको काट सकते हैं. 2 एग्जाम्पल्स की बजाय आप एक एग्जाम्पल दे सकते हैं. Then follows the criticism of the modern writers. Up until the Romantic age, there was no criticism on Aristotle. But you know that in Romantic age, uh, the importance of men came forward, and they were the followers of Shakespeare. And all the dramas of Shakespeare, characters play very important roles, and therefore they thought that characters are very important, and critics started talking against Aristotle. De Quincey also had his own criticism, and he explained this idea that Greeks believed in destiny. That is, everything is controlled by the destiny, and characters do not have any individuality, that they are not free to do what they do, and therefore characters for Greek were not important, as they believed in destiny. And when you believe in destiny and everything is done by destiny and not by the characters themselves, the result is that the intellectual element and the moral element then is not in your control. You cannot use your uh, ability to choose and reject. And when you cannot use the ability to choose and reject, and you believe destiny controls everything, then character becomes less important. But this was not the belief of the Greek people. Um, and therefore, uh, if this was the case, as it is not the case, then De Quincey was right that for them character was not important because they believed in destiny. Everything is controlled by destiny. Then man would become nothing, character would become nothing, and character would be considered as puppets in the hands of destiny. And human will and intellectual element in human being would sink into insignificance. But that is not the case. Um, this was not the belief of the Greek people, unlike Aristotle. So that's why this criticism of De Quincey would not be then correct criticism. ये हमने बात ये की कि रोमांटिक एज तक तो अरिस्टोटल की क्रिटिसिज्म नहीं हुई। रोमांटिक एज में चूंकि ये शेक्सपियर के वर्शिपर्स थे और शेक्सपियर ने जो लिखा उसमें कैरेक्टर्स बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, तो इनके ख्याल में अरिस्टोटल ठीक नहीं था। डिक्वेंसी ने कहा कि असल में ग्रीक ग्रीक लोग यकीन रखते थे डेस्टिनी पर, कि डेस्टिनी किस्मत में सब कुछ है और इंसान कुछ नहीं कर सकता, तो ये इंडिविजुअलिटी इनकी ख़त्म हो जाएगी, तो यूं कैरेक्टर इनसिग्निफिकेंट हो जाएगा। तो इस वजह से वो समझते थे कि कैरेक्टर जो हैं ये इम्पॉर्टेंट नहीं है और प्लॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट है। This criticism of De Quincey is misapplied because Greeks did not believe in this kind of fate. Greeks believed in humanism, that is, faith in human being, faith in man. And they thought that man does all everything to himself, not God. Uh, Oedipus, for example, it is said by the seers, by the oracles, that he would kill his own father and marry his own mother. But why do these seers say so? Uh, they are not saying so because God wants this, because they will do something wrong and they will do something which will be they will be then held responsible for doing that. So it would not originate from God, it will originate from these people, and therefore these people would be held responsible, not God. So this was not their fate, their belief that it is written in the fate and that it would happen to him. That was not the belief of the Greek people. The Greek people believed that when you do wrong, uh, it is because of that something which you have done that the curse falls on you, not because God wants to put it on you. So, therefore, if your parents do something and those parents get away with that crime, then the nemesis or the curse or the punishment will fall on the children and the children will face all these. So, actions proceed from man, not from God, according to their belief, and therefore people are responsible for their own actions. Oedipus is paid for what his father has done. So, this is what the Greeks believed. What has his father done because of which that curse uh, came to him? This is that short story, and you should read it for yourself and then let me know if you understand it or not. This, in these lines, you will learn that his father uh, was considered a guest at a place, and he was given a lot of honor as a guest by a king. Laius was his father, Oedipus' father, and he then is uh, taken as the teacher of the king's son. This is the king's son's name, Chrysippus. Chrysippus is his name. It's a Greek name, Chrysippus. It looks like that. Laius then commits the sin by seducing him and rapes him. This is that sin which his father Laius has done, due to which this curse or nemesis falls on the family, that his own son will kill him and will marry his wife. So that curse is then there. it is because of the crime done by Elias and not because of God willed so. So this was the type of belief which they had. Aeschylus is a little different from what Aristotle believed. And according to Aeschylus, the son is not automatically punished for something which his father has done, uh, unless he himself also does something wrong. The nemesis, the punishment, the curse, remains asleep or dormant unless the son also does something wrong. Then that punishment falls upon him. And this was their belief. Therefore, we think that De Quincey was not correct in saying that they believed in destiny and therefore individuality or character was lost. So, nemesis, that punishment, is the result of what man has done, not because of God. So, these are the beliefs, and according to these beliefs, De Quincey's explanation would look wrong. Modern critics say that plot is just an external framework, uh, and it is the character who has to do all these actions, and therefore, character is more important because action is done by the character. Without character, who will do the action? Uh, Action is done through character, it is interpreted via character, so character is more important. As you know, and I have already discussed this with you, uh, as the answer to this, that this is a misunderstanding of Aristotle, you can write this. According to Aristotle, character includes the moral element, the bent of mind, the tendency to do good, which is called ethos, and the intellectual element, the ability to choose good or bad. These are realized through speech and action. If they are not realized, then that person is not considered as character. So you see the idea which the modern critics have here, the misunderstanding is that they think that Aristotle meant the dramatic personages by characters. No, he didn't. He didn't mean by characters only the body of the people. He believed that the moral element and intellectual element, if they are not realized, the character would not be called a character. And I gave you this example. You can give the same example here. You can interpret all this, and that is enough. You can remove this area as well as this area from your notes, and these 4 or 5 points for the importance of plot construction are enough. तो ये आखिर में ज़रा उर्दू में सुन लें. ये जो आइडिया है डिक्वेंसी का कि उनका ख्याल ये था कि चूंकि वो फेट पे बिलीव करते थे कि सब कुछ पहले से तयशुदा है, तो इसमें तो किरदार का कोई दखल नहीं हुआ, तो किरदार उनके ख्याल में लेस इम्पोर्टेंट था. तो ये इस तरह नहीं है, क्योंकि उनका बिलीफ ये नहीं था. उनका बिलीफ ये था कि हम अपने ऊपर आजाब लाते हैं और वो नहीं लाता. हम गलत काम करते हैं तो उसका हम पे कर्ज पड़ता है, जिसको वो नेमेसिस कहते थे. और ये नेमेसिस अगर वालिदैन पर है तो फिर बच्चों पर भी आता है. और ये नेमेसिस इडिपस के बाप पे, लायस पे ये था कि वो एक मर्तबा एक बादशाह का मेहमान बना और मेहमानदारी उनके रिलीजन में शामिल है. वो इसको बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट समझते हैं, तो इसको उसने बड़ी अहमियत दी, इसको गेस्ट के तौर पे रखा. اور پھر اس کو بتایا کہ تم میرے بیٹے کو چیریٹ ریسنگ میں، ریڑا ریسنگ میں، اس کو چیریٹ بولتے تھے، تم ہیلپ کرو۔ اور کریسپس اس کا نام تھا اس کے بیٹے کا، تو اس نے اس کے بیٹے کے ساتھ زیادتی کی، اور یہ اس کے باپ کی غلطی تھی، اس کی لعنت اس کے بیٹے پر بھی پڑنی تھی ان کے عقائد کے مطابق۔ لیکن ایسکلس ہمیں بتاتا ہے کہ یہ لعنت اس وقت تک نہیں پڑتی، یہ سزا، جب تک بیٹا بھی کو غلط کام نہ کرے۔ تو یہ جو نیمیسس تھی یہ اس کے اوپر آئی، اور یوں اس نے بھی غلط کام کیا اور یہ سزا اس پہ پڑی۔ یوں کوئنسی صحیح نہیں ہے اپنے اس بات میں۔ ماڈرن کرٹکس کا خیال یہ ہے، اور یہ غلط ہے، کہ ایرسٹاٹل نے صحیح نہیں کہا ہے کہ جو ایرسٹاٹل کہتا ہے کہ بغیر کردار کے ٹریجڈی ممکن ہے، یہ صحیح بات نہیں ہے۔ تو ان کا خیال یہ ہے کہ کردار سے مراد شخص ہے، ڈرامہ میں لوگ ہیں، یعنی ڈرامہ میں لوگوں کے بغیر کیسے ممکن ہو سکتی ہے ٹریجڈی، وہ لوگ مراد نہیں لے رہے ہیں۔ وہ کیریکٹر اس کو کہتا ہے کہ جب آپ اپنی ول پاور کو استعمال نہ کریں، جیسے، اور جب آپ استعمال نہ کریں اپنی مورل ایلیمنٹ کو اور انٹلیکچول ایلیمنٹ کو، یہ ریئلائز نہ ہو جائیں، تو اس وقت تک آپ کیریکٹر ہوتے ہی نہیں ہیں۔ اور اس کی مثال بھی میں نے دی، آپ اس کو 2-3 مرتبہ پڑھا ہے۔ تو یوں یہ مس انڈرسٹوڈ کیا ہے ایرسٹاٹل کو۔ اس کا مطلب یہ نہیں ہے کہ اس سے مراد کردار ہیں، اس سے مراد عام لوگ نہیں ہے جو ڈرامے میں حصہ لیتے، اس سے مراد ان کے مارل اور انٹلیکچول ایلیمنٹ جب ریئلائز نہ ہو تو وہ سمجھتا ہے کہ یہ کیریکٹر ہی نہیں ہے۔ تو یہ باقی آپ چھوڑ دیں، اس کی ضرورت نہیں ہے، 4-5 پوائنٹس ہو گئے ہیں، یہ کافی ہیں آپ کے لیے۔ تھینک یو اینڈ گڈ لک۔